Carrick cannot be our permanent manager, and last night just proved why. From the start, when we named the starting lineup, look, I was surprised to see Kobbie Mainoo not there. He's got an injury. Fine, I get it. Now, one thing that has been quite prevalent in the most recent games is that we lack width on the left. Since Dorgu's been out, I think that Cunha is effectively a 10. He's a 10. He plays in that half space on the left, but he's a 10. He doesn't like to go out wide. And the issue is, if you play Shaw left back, Shaw hasn't got the legs that he used to in terms of going to overlap on the left-hand side, okay? If he did, it's fine to have Cunha, I think, there. Shaw is playing left back. I get that because, to be honest, I don't think Mazraoui or Dalot are good at left back. So, yeah, Shaw's probably our best option there. That's fine. But what you have to do now is think about who's playing in front of him. And personally, I would have started Cunha on the bench for two reasons. One, because of that width problem. But two, because we've got evidence of Sesko and Cunha being impact subs. Ahmad and Mbeumo have not done that. In my opinion, you should always have Sesko or Cunha on the bench. One of them on the bench just as a differentiator to come off the bench in case we need them. So in this game, I would have started Mbeumo on the left, Ahmad on the right, and up top Sesko. And maybe switch Mbeumo and Ahmad if you need to. I know that Mbeumo and Ahmad prefer the right, but because they're naturally left-footed, naturally they'll go around the outside a few times. And I just think that will open the game up. It'll, your passing lanes become wider and it gives you another option. And I just think that one thing I will say is playing Cunha and Bruno together, they want to occupy the same positions in the attacking bit of the pitch because they're both number 10s. The reason when Cunha looks good when Bruno's on the pitch is because Bruno just gets attracted to the ball, okay? So when Bruno drops deep to collect the ball, that frees up Cunha to go into that space, and that's where he does whatever he does best. But if, for instance, Bruno was slightly more disciplined with his position, which it doesn't need to be, but what I'm trying to say is they clash. They go into the same positions. I think Cunha was good for the Amorim system, the 2 10s. I just don't think anything else really suits him, to be perfectly honest with you, unless he is playing that 10 by himself. But he's not better than Bruno. Bruno's one of the best players we've had, probably the best player we've had since 2013. So that annoyed me. The rigidity to stick with, the formation that you're doing, but you've got to look at the personnel you have available to you. I think that's key. That is key to management. And then Ugarte with Casemiro in the middle. Honestly, Ugarte, we saw the lack of control in our midfield. The first 30 minutes were diabolical, man. They just cut through us like a nasty ball. It was like watching Ten Hag ball at times, or even like Amorim ball. Honestly, I hated it. I think I literally said to my friends before we signed Ugarte, when we were getting linked with him, because we were getting linked. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but Yao Neves was someone that we were getting linked to, but there was a high release clause or something, and we didn't want to pay that. Then PSG had Ugarte, and they basically said to us, look, we know that you want Yao Neves and he's quite expensive. How about you have Ugarte for 50 mil? And yeah, I think this is a better option for you. And then they finessed us because they got Yao Neves for about 20 million more than that. Ugarte was at PSG for 1 year. He played a couple of months, and then they were like, yeah, this guy's actually crap. He's actually shit. That's warning signs. And the thing that really annoys me is that I watch a lot of online scout reports and stuff, or people discussing podcasts about Man United. And Stephen Howson, for instance, before we signed him, I love Stephen Howson, but he fucked up with this because he's very data driven, and I understand the value in data, but data is not everything. Most number of tackles won, blah blah blah. Watch him with your eyes. I watched when we're linked with players, I always watch compilations of them. Yeah, right. And I watched a compilation of him playing for Uruguay and Sporting and whatnot. And I was like, this guy's dumb. Genuinely dumb. I was like, I do not want him anywhere near us. I don't care if he tackles whatever. He's dumb. Dumb players play for dumb teams or like lower league teams, like, or you know what I mean, like. And look, he proved his shit worth last night. He wasn't the worst, I don't think, but he didn't bring anything. Do you know what I mean? And look, that might be to do with rust as well because he's not played much. But at the end of the day, he's just not good enough at generally. I thought Lomans played okay, but he had some hairy moments, man, especially with the ball at his feet. I got scared. I thought Mazraoui, and I'm going to talk about every position. Mazraoui, I've said this before, he's a very good footballer. I just don't know what his position is. I'll be real. Like when we were in the Amrim system, I was like, don't put him as right wing back because he's just not good at going forward. That good at going forward. I just think he's a neat and tidy footballer. I was thinking like playing on a right back as a 4 would suit him better. But I prefer Dallo. Dallo's better than him. Dallo's just physically better, I think. And he just gives I don't know, going around the outside, I think he just gives more. I don't think Mazraoui's got the pace or physicality that Dallo's got. I think that was a miss, unless Dallo was injured. Yoro, I think, had another bad game. He's just having a growth season, man. I can let him off just because of his age, but he does need to get better. Like it just didn't click for Yoro yesterday. He got slightly better in the second half, I felt, but overall, man, like all over the place. And it was the physicality. He was finding it hard to deal with DCL. And the thing is, you're going to come up with loads of different forwards in the Prem. Someone who's physical and stuff, you have to be able to battle your corner, man. Then Lisandro Martinez, that hairpull thing, what was it? Lisandro Martinez, I love Lisandro Martinez, yeah, but yeah, I think he was unlucky a little bit to be sent off for that. But he didn't play amazingly well either, to be honest with you. Like, again, rust because he's not played much. Glad to see him back. That was the best thing, just glad to see him back on the pitch. But obviously he's not going to be for our next game now. So, yeah, we're fucked, man. We're fucked. Left back Luke Shaw, just getting beaten too easily, man. Like the cross for the first goal came from his side. They kept putting in crosses from that side. He's just not good enough to play, I don't think. As I thought he was. As a left back, like defensively, I thought he still was okay. But I think when he comes across like younger players with a bit more exuberance and a bit more energy, I think he struggles, man. I think he's a good squad player, but at best. But like I've said, like I'd be happy to see him go. I've been happy to see him go for a few years, I'll be real. But yeah, I think he was shocking. And then Casemiro and Agate in the middle. Casemiro got a goal, played some sloppy passes, but he always has that in his locker. Like sometimes he plays a pass without looking because he tries to do, and sometimes it works, right? Because it's like that first time pass. But there was one like just outside our area, and I was like, "What are you doing, bro?" But he got a goal at the end of the day. Like fair play. And he could have had only he was offside for that one. But look, he's a constant threat, so fair play for that. Agate, like I said, just didn't really do anything. Generally can't remember him doing much, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's shit. And people were saying, oh, bring Mason Mount on. Mason Mount is also shit. They're both shit. Mason Mount's less shit than Agate, but the amount we paid for Mason Mount, oh my God, with a year left on his contract. I remember when we were linked with him. First of all, I've never been a fan of Mason Mount, so I was annoyed. Second of all, when I realised we were paying 55 million plus 5 million add-ons, I was like, why? With Mason Mount, I know I shouldn't even be talking about Mason Mount, but with Mason Mount, if your best attribute is like he runs around a lot or carries out instructions well, that means you're an average player at best. That's my opinion. Okay, now going to forward line, Bruno, I thought had an off day. He got an assist. Glad he got an assist, but in general, like, yeah, he had an off day. He couldn't get on the ball as much as he likes to. Obviously, weirdly, when we went down to 10 men, he's getting on the ball more. But yeah, an off day from Bruno. But I can forgive him because he's carried us in so many games before. Ahmad had a very quiet day, I felt. And I love Ahmad. But I feel as though this is what makes one season wonders or good players compared to great players, is managing expectation. I feel as though a couple of years ago, like where he was a peripheral in the Ten Hag team, and then, you know, he came in and scored some goals, and then under Amorim, I think he did really well. But now expectations on, man. Like this is big boy football, and you're good enough to do it, but mentally, are you good enough? That's the key. And then Cunha on the left, he tried. But my guy always tries to do hero ball, man. You're not the main guy. You're not the main character here. Bruno's the main character. That's why you succeeded at Wolves, but it's not the way it works here, man. And then Sesko. Sesko is... I don't get him. Like, I was very critical of the signing, like, when we got him because of the money we paid. And I wasn't sure on him. Because I've seen him play a couple of times. And his mentality, I was unsure with his mentality the most. Because, you know, he was linked to a couple of clubs a couple of years ago, and he said that he wasn't ready. He didn't feel ready. I feel as though someone who's got the mentality to really be a great player would snap at any chance, like, to play for a top team. And he didn't do that. So that's why I was always like, I think he's weak mentally. He had a couple of good touches here and there, but also he reminded me of Højlund last night, where the ball just wouldn't stick to him if played up to him. Shocking touch at times. Like, he had a good touch when he was like, he knocked it around someone, but when the ball was coming into him, absolute shocking. And he's been all right at that. That's been one of the things that he's improved on from last year compared to Højlund is, you know, we've got someone to stick it to. But last night, he was shit. Honestly, I just think that this shows the limitations of Carrick, in my opinion. Look, people can point, like he pointed to, like Lenny Yoro getting hit in the first half for the goal by DCL. Yeah, look, it could have been a foul, but that's not, you can't take that away from Leeds, man. Leeds battered us in that first 30 minutes. It could have been 3-0 easy in that first 30 minutes. And yeah, Lissandra's unlucky, I get that. But at the end of the day, we just weren't on it. I don't know if we just underestimated Leeds. I don't know what it was, man, but this was shocking. And yeah, Carrick's limited as a manager. The thing is, Carrick's done very well as an interim. Our first 2 games were amazing. Since then, we haven't been that good. We've got results, but we haven't been that good. We've actually played pretty badly. And I think it's coincided with Dorgu not being in the team, weirdly. But it seems that Carrick's not got a plan B. And this is what he was criticised at Middlesbrough for as well. Like, his plan A was very good, but his plan B just wasn't there. And we're seeing it now. And people who were saying, oh, give Carrick the job, give Carrick the job. He's doing well when there's no expectation. Again, look, I talked about Ahmad. When there's no expectation, it's easy to perform well. When you become a permanent manager, there's expectation for you to do something. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Because the thing is, since his first 2 games, there's been an expectation that we're going to do well now because you've set the precedent. He's not even been able to do it in an interim period. Forget about a perm period. I just think that we need to look at other candidates. I know there's limited now because a lot of them have started being like taken out and whatnot. But yeah, overall I'm annoyed. I think we really could have cemented our, top 3 credentials last night. And it's taken nothing away from Leeds, man. Leeds were quality. Like, if you look at XG, theirs is 2.37, ours is 1.3. Like, there's a disparity between the goals, and it finished 2-1 as well. So that's in line with the XG. We only had a few more shots than them. Like, they came to play, man. It was 20 shots against 15 shots. And weirdly, we played better with 10 men, but that's just because we got more urgent. So, fuck it, let's just go for it. We've got nothing to lose. I think we missed Maguire as much as I hate to admit it. I think Maguire has been very good for us since Carrick's come in. And I'm a Maguire hater, but I'm being real. Yeah, I just don't know, man. Like, I hope this season doesn't peter out. I'm hoping we can beat Chelsea, but struggling to see how. Hope Cobby comes back because there was a massive lack of control in that midfield. And overall, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed, man. I just don't know where we are right now. Like, and people might think, oh, you're being reactive and stuff. It's not reactive. For the last few games, we've not played well. We've managed to get some results here and there. But if you look at our overall performance, it reminds me of when Ollie was interim and everyone was getting on the bandwagon. I was never a fan of Ollie because I couldn't see like how we were going to progress under him. I was always like, let's keep him as interim, that's fine. But get a proper manager in. And I know we shouldn't be comparing both cases, but naturally you do so. And I think that Man United would make a mistake by hiring Carrick as permanent manager. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think anyway. What do you think of the game? Do you think Carrick should get permanent manager or not? Leave it in the comments below. But yeah, be remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.